Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. In this edition, we'll be talking about Tottenham's first Premier League defeat of the season, Thomas Frank's first defeat as Tottenham Hotspur manager in the Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Bournemouth 1. Now, we're live on YouTube, Facebook and X. Please do let us know how you're feeling right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan and, more importantly, what you made of today's performance. A very contrasting performance to last week's 2-0 win at the Etihad against Manchester City. Now, as per usual, I've got three very special guests. Part of the furniture, Craig Dearman is back with us. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I was all right till about 3:30 this afternoon. Yeah, that was pretty bad, wasn't it? Pretty bad. But yeah, another defeat before an international break, which is never good. So frustrating. But we'll get into it.
We will indeed. Also back with us is Kate Boxell from Kate and Jimbo. Kate, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Look, it was a bad day at the office. It can only get better. And it was good to see Javi Simmons. That's my highlight of the day. Forget everything else. Just that.
Yeah, of course, Javi Simmons was unveiled at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before kickoff. Great to see. A lot of people very excited about the signing of the Dutch international. And also joining me here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is Ricky Norwood. Rick, how are you?
What's going on, you beautiful people? Yeah, a bit of a tipsy-turvy, a bit of a good and bad day. Yeah, it's been one of those, but can't wait to get in with it, with Kate, with Craig, with yourself, Chris, and all you beautiful people around the world. Let's jump in.
Let's jump in indeed. So Tottenham Hotspur 0, Bournemouth 1. Spurs had 61.5% of the ball. Bournemouth had 38.5%. XG Spurs 0.17, Bournemouth 1.45. Shots Spurs had 5 to Bournemouth's incredible 19. Shots on target Spurs only 1 and Bournemouth had 6. Now touches inside the opposition box Spurs 18, Bournemouth 29. Goalkeeper saves Vicario with 5 good saves. Bournemouth 1. Fouls committed Tottenham 17, Bournemouth 13, and corners. Spurs didn't have a single corner, and Bournemouth had 8. Craig, let's start the show with you. Thoughts on the game today?
Shocking, to be honest. Absolutely shocking. The whole game, pretty much. Just didn't seem at the races at all. So many players just looked off it. In fact, the whole team looked off it. I think if it hadn't been for Vicario, it would have been 6. Some really good saves from him. His distribution at times wasn't brilliant, but actually doing what he's paid to do, saving shots was very good. But that's about the only player that can come out of it with any semblance of holding his head high, so to speak. I just thought it was a very, very poor performance today. So, and I've just not seen that in those first 2 games this season. So that was the surprising thing. I think we was tactically out-managed today. I think Areola had one over on Frank today, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen changes made sooner. Jose Mourinho used to change things in the first half. Not that I was a big Jose fan, but at least he would change things. I just thought we changed things a bit too late. I think changes could have been made at half-time, but ultimately I just think as Kate said, it was a very, very bad day at the office. And last year Bournemouth seemed to do well against us here, but it was just boring to watch. The whole game was boring to watch, and we had no creativity in the team today. Passing wasn't brilliant. Richie's hold-up play wasn't good. Defending wasn't brilliant. I mean, letting them, like I say, we were so lucky not to. It could have been 3 or 4, 5. So I think we got away with one as far as that goes. So it could have been really embarrassing scoreline today. But yeah, disappointing after 2 really good wins and performances, and then going into another international break on a loss is not ideal.
Craig, I completely agree with you in the fact that Bournemouth today will probably be disappointed that they didn't score more. Being it was only 1-0. They had so many chances. Vicario, of course, saved us on numerous occasions. Is it more that Spurs were poor today, or was it the fact that Bournemouth played out their skins and every single player gave their absolute all?
I think it was definitely a bit of both, but we were poor today, mate. No bones about it. We were poor. But as you say, Bournemouth did play really well. It just looked like they were tactically organised better than us today. I don't think that midfield three worked in start in this game. And Frank will learn a lot from this today. That's the only positive I can come out with it. But not having a number 10, we could have really done somebody with dictating play and putting through passes through today, and that just wasn't happening. I think Bournemouth's press was so good against us. 4 or 5 players up the pitch, leaving space in behind, but we just couldn't get the ball up the pitch to Richarlison. And when he did get it, he just couldn't hold on to it today. So it was one of those games where everybody was off it. Everybody looked like they were playing about 85% rather than the 100, which we all know you need each week to win games in the Premier League. So yeah, very disappointing today.
Okay, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on the 1-0 defeat.
No, I think we've got to put it in context first. Bournemouth aren't mugs, They finished 9th in the Premier League last season. Iriola's got them playing really well. He's got them really well organised. He was one of the people that sort of one of the managers that everyone was talking about. As soon as someone's looking for a new manager, he's always one of the first names that comes up. He's a good manager, and they've got a good team. We took Solanke off and they went and got Evan Nielsen, who has been a revelation for them, really. Semenyo, I mean, he out-muscled everyone on that pitch today. He was incredible. So, we can't go into panic meltdown mode. They're not a terrible team. They're a very good team. But it just looked like we wasn't at the races. And for some reason, before international breaks, we kind of have this hoodoo where we just can't win. Whether someone said in the chat, maybe they're preserving themselves for their international games. I don't know what it is, but as Craig said, the only player really that you look at and go, yeah, they put up a really good performance was Vicario. I mean, Van der Ven made a couple of good blocks. I thought Bentancur was just atrocious today. His passing was so wayward. I don't want to individually pick out every single player, but it just was all round. It was a really bad day at the office, and you will get the people that go, Spursy, the same Spursy, just different manager. Look, we've seen the first 2 games, we've seen in pre-season just how much Frank has changed his team. I think everyone just needs to put it into context, just say it is just a bad day, which every team has bad day at the office, and we will learn and we'll move. Frank's not the type to not learn from his mistakes. The first time he's ever lost to Iriola, but he got one up on him today, and now we move on to the next game.
Okay, Craig said there that Thomas Frank will learn a lot about today's game. What would he have learnt today, particularly today's performance and game?
Well, he's learned that we desperately need that number 10. I think Javi Simmons hopefully will step in and bring that creativity. I hope he hits the ground running. I think we've learned as well that Solanke, he's got his ankles not right. I'm not sure I feel confident going into a full season with Solanke and Richarlison as our strikers when both of them are prone to injury. Look, I think he's just learned. Sometimes you just got. Everyone's been on a high. It's been so good. That performance last week against City was sublime. But there's still papering over cracks. There's still cracks in this squad. And I think that's what Frank will realise, that although we've made giant leaps forward, we've still got a lot of issues that we need to sort out, such as the creativity, such as the strikers. Again, Richie was out-muscled today. So, look, it's going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight thing. Frank's just walked into, I consider we was a bit of a shambles despite winning the Europa League. The tactics that we're playing last season compared to this season, everyone needs to just put it into perspective. Like I say, it's a bad day at the office, we move. I've got full faith that Frank won't accept that performance ever again.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. Ricky, what did you make of today's game? Because, of course, we're at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium now. The amount of people that we spoke to before the game, everyone was on a huge high. If you go online now, there's a lot of negativity, but as Kate said, you've got to put things into perspective, haven't you?
Absolutely, but you know what? Negativity is always going to be around. Do you know what I mean? It's always going to be around football fans and results and football clubs. It's how you deal with it, and it's what you take from it. For me, I think Kate was, spot on. The biggest glare that we was missing today was our physicality. That's what I've been most impressed with against PSG, against Man City, against Burnley. It's been our physicality. Kudus couldn't do what he normally has been doing the last couple of weeks, and why we've been so impressed with him, which is use his body and use his improvisation to trouble people. It was more, like Kate said earlier, it was more Semenyo that was doing that. Semenyo was out muscling the whole squad. Like you said already, like Richie couldn't hold it up. You know, Johnson didn't really do what we wanted him to do today either. It was very busy. It was very, very busy, and we need to challenge that. It's part of the well. That in the back would have been good today. At half time, and get more control. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was very flat. Short passes, long passes, too long. It's been one of those.
Ricky, those stats that I read earlier, one shot on target, and that was from Bergvall. One shot on target. It was late on in the game as well. That is simply not good enough. I know we're crying out for a number 10. We're crying out for a creativity. I know like we've been raving about Mohamed Kudus. He wasn't quite on it today. But the unveiling today of Javi Simmons, everyone was on top of the world, weren't they, when he came out?
Oh, everybody was buzzing. I saw the little ones buzzing. I saw the oldies buzzing. All of us were buzzing, let me tell you. It's one of those. It is a statement signing. It really is. The age, the profile, the experience. Not only can he set goals up and he's got great vision, but he can strike a ball. Strike a ball with the inside of his foot, especially with the outside of the foot. And I love that. A bit like Jermaine Defoe, when he strikes, it's got like a natural dip. Like, I don't know how he's doing it, but he strikes and he's got just that natural dip. And depending on what corner you're using, could be so good. Everybody was super happy today. It's the first time in a long time where we've built on good reputation and the good energy within the squad and with a new manager and having that trophy. So to bring in him was fantastic. To see his face, not just to see him holding the shirt, but to see his face with the shirt in the stadium, trust the Tottenham fans. He's signed, he's 100%, he's here. Against West Ham, we're going to see some fireworks.
Ricky, before we come to you next, a lot of people are stating that they can't hear you very well. I can hear you fine, but a lot of people are stating that they can't hear you. So if you can just sort your audio out and we'll come back to you shortly. Craig, let's come to you. Before we talk about the game itself, I just want to get both yours and Kate's opinions on the signing of Javi Simmons, because as Ricky said there, it is a real statement signing. Everyone is very, very excited about the Dutch international coming in. You know, it was a pity that we didn't have him available today against Bournemouth. We could, you know, in hindsight, we could have certainly needed him today. But it looks like he will make his Spurs debut, if all fit and well, after the international break against West Ham. What do you make of this signing?
Yeah, just a fantastic signing. As you say, we could have really done with him today. We needed a bit of creativity today, and there just wasn't any. And it was bad luck losing Solanke, but everything seemed to conspire against us today. But could have really done with him. But he's going to make a difference. He is a player that comes straight into the first 11 and improves it as well. Really good signing from Spurs. But as I say, and I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks, we need, and I think a lot of people agree with this, we still need players. I think we still need somebody in the attacking area. I think you've seen that today. Somebody who can play through the middle or on the wing as well. And another centre-back, ideally, that can play left back as well. But Javi Simmons, really good signing and a really good statement by the club. So let's hope he can walk straight into the starting 11 in our next game, and hopefully we'll get a better result.
Absolutely. Kate, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on the signing of Javi Simmons, because as I said, Ricky and I are here at the stadium, and the amount of people that we spoke to today, everyone on a huge high, everyone smiling, everyone drinking, and everyone having a good time before kickoff.
Look, I think this guy, like Craig says, a big statement signing. You know, to get a guy of this caliber, you know, he's from the Barca Academy. He's played at PSG, PSV, RB Leipzig. He was considered one of the best prospects in the Bundesliga. To get him at 22 for 51.8 million or whatever it was, I just think this is the most incredible signing for this club. And I just hope that we build around him, because although this is a brilliant signing, we can't just say, right, that's it now. We've got Paulinho, Kudus and Simmons. We still need more for Frank. But this guy, I mean, he can play in the middle. He can play left wing, right wing. He's just... And the nice thing is, he looks like, when you saw him come out on the pitch today, he looked so in awe of being here. Look, I think it's a brilliant statement. Probably the best signing I've seen. I mean, Jim said best signing since Van der Vaart. I would go as far as to say it could be the best signing since Klinsmann if it works out, because this guy is an absolute superstar in the making. So let's just hope that he delivers straight into the Premier League and puts in some hard work and maybe a few goals against West Ham.
Ricky, let's come to you. Let's talk about our starting 11 today. Vicario, Paulinho, Richarlison, Romero as captain, Kudus, Johnson, Porro, Spence, Sarr, Bentancur and Van der Ven. And on the sub-bench today, Kinski, Danso, Tell, Udogie, Gray, Bergvall, Solomon, Odegaard and Davis. Any surprises here for you? Craig, let's come to you on this question.
Well, I did call. I called Bergvall starting, so I was kind of surprised that Bergvall didn't start. But you're going solid against a good Bournemouth side, so it was a full strength side going against them, and we were going for the win, and we're going to be solid and to be balanced. So the only one is that I would have chucked Bergvall in there just for a little bit more creativity, just for a little bit more. When we were pushing forward and give them more to think about. But apart from that, you can't really complain with that lineup.
Craig, what did you make of the starting 11 today?
Yeah, I don't agree with Rick. I mean, you can't really moan too much about it on paper. I thought that team would have been enough. You look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? You could have turned around and said, should have played Bergvall, should have played three at the back and slung in Danso, but come on, I think most people would have been fairly happy with that lineup. But the subs, you can see there, 9 subs. I mean, shows how light we are really still, you know? Where's the game changers? I mean, having Solomon on the bench, he's probably going to leave within the next 2 or 3 days, so it does show kind of how light we are. But as for the starting lineup, you can't really moan about it. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, like I say, but the starting lineup, I don't think many people would have moaned about that.
Thomas Frank has just been asked a question in the press conference on whether he wants to sign another striker in the next couple of days before the window closes. He said, no, not particularly. To have three strikers in the squad can also cause problems. It's a fine balance. I'm not saying we won't look for another striker in a future window, but I'm happy with Richie and Dom. Craig, what do you make of this? Do we need another striker at the football club? Of course, Dominic Solanke missed today's game. Richarlison has been in fine form. It's fair to say Richarlison looked a very different player to what he has done in the last couple of weeks today. But do Spurs need another striker? I know that all of us say we need X, Y, and Z in the transfer window. Are you disappointed by Frank's comments there?
I still think we could have done with another number 9, to be honest with you, or at least somebody who's a decent number 9 that can play out wide if need be. I've said I'm still going to stick with it, even though Richarlison started really well this season, and fair play to him. He started brilliantly, didn't have his best game today, as we all know. But essentially, I would rather have us gone for another number 9, a really good number 9. That he's proven at scoring goals. All right, Richarlison is, we all know that, but he's never been that prolific. So I would have loved to have just gone for a proper striker, like I say, that could also play on the wings to cover both. Because in modern day football, you generally don't get a player that can just play in one position. That's it. You've got to be able to fill in different places. So, excuse me, as I say. I'm still not 100% convinced on Richarlison. I really want him to do well if he's staying. It looks like he's going to be staying, and he wants to play for the club. So that always shows goodwill, and he wants to prove himself. He wants to get into that Brazil squad for the World Cup next summer. But for me, I still think we could probably do better. But I would like us to go out and make a statement, but I'm not sure that is going to happen. I still hold out hope that we are going to get another forward like I'm not saying Savinho, but a player like that, somebody that can perhaps play on the wing and be shoehorned into the number 9, because it certainly doesn't sound like we're going to be going for a centre forward.
Okay, let's come to you on the starting 11, because I know you gave some negative comments about Bentancur earlier at the start of the show. When you look at the starting 11 today, these players have been in fine form, against Burnley 2 weeks ago, certainly against Manchester City at the Etihad last week. When you look at that midfield, how impressed, everyone was last week with Polina, Sarr and Bentancur. It was very difficult to change that trio of the midfield, wasn't it, today?
Yeah, I agree. But I think when you're playing away at the Etihad, we needed those three as a solid defensive unit in the midfield, sort of their strength. Whereas I think today we set up like we was playing away. For me, we should have had Bergvall. That's who I had in my starting 11. I think that we lacked the creativity. I mean, Richarlison didn't really get any service today. Bergvall may have started and we may still have lost that game, because I just think Bournemouth played absolutely brilliant. But I just thought we set up quite defensively for a home game. So I would have liked to have seen Bergvall. But when you look at that bench, like Craig says, there's nobody on there where I look at and go, well, at least we can bring on so-and-so. I mean, Tell came on, and I don't think any Tottenham fan thought to themselves, he might grab a goal here. He had that one chance that he put wide, which would have been a great goal had it been on target. But look, I would still like a Wissa, if we could get a Wissa, just someone who can score goals. Because if we get an injury to Richarlison, we all know now that they're both injury prone. I just don't know. Are we going to put Tell as a number 9? Are we going to stick Johnson as a false 9? I don't know. And I think we're leaving Frank really short. I don't think Frank would ever come out and say, well, yes, I really want to buy a striker, because he would be told not to say that. But that concerns me that he's saying...
That's just it though, Kate, isn't it? Sorry to jump in, but Tell is not a number 9. He's not. He's never going to be a number 9. I don't know what he is, if you want to know the truth. I don't know what Tell is at the minute. It looks like, I always want to give our players the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know what he is. I don't know how he fits into this team at all. But you see how Semenyo, sorry Chris, you see how Semenyo had Porro on toast today. Yeah. That if we're going to go for that sort of play, a winger essentially, that you can kind of see just by watching that one game today why all top clubs have been interested in him and why Spurs have been linked with him. He absolutely tore him apart, had him inside out today. And that is the sort of play, that's the sort of level we need to be at. Mm-hmm. Is Tell at that level? Probably not, is he? So no. A lot of work to be done still. Sorry to jump in.
That's all right. In the press conference just now, Thomas Frank was asked a question, or to give his opinion, on the Spurs fans booing at half-time being 1-0 down and then booing at full-time as well. He said, I prefer them not to boo, but I understand it was not a good performance today. They have higher expectations, which I understand. The players put their heart out there, but didn't hit our football levels today. Ricky, you're one of the most positive people, if not the positive person, the most positive person I know in my life. And what positives would Thomas Frank take from the game today? And like I've been saying the last couple of days, we have got off to a flying start in the Premier League. Certainly when you think about that game in the Super Cup against PSG as well, everyone was very impressed with that. Do you think that people have got their hopes up too high and have exceeded expectations too soon? Because before today's game, everyone was getting super excited, saying we're going to finish in the European spot, we're going to finish top 4, we're going to win 3-0, we're going to win in 4-0 today. Have people just got too carried away? Because Thomas Frank does still have a lot to do.
For me, I don't think we've seen and we've assessed what we've needed to, in the sense that we saw what the performance was against PSG. and we could see straight away that there was a different shape, there was a different tenacity, energy, and mostly aggression. You know, we come up against Burnley, we change the shape again, we go attacking with two young ones in midfield, rotating the sides at the right time as well, and we come out winners, victorious against that one. And then Man City, most of us thought that we was going to go 3 at the back, but we didn't. We stuck with the 4 at the back, and brought in Paulinia, Bentancur, Sarr, made it a really tough, tenacious game. So it's not about getting carried away. It's about saying what you see, a bit like catchphrase. And I think a lot of Tottenham fans have been saying when they see it, they've been impressed with what they've seen. What Frank is going to take away from today is that not everything is going to work the way that you want it. And he already said that to us. He's already let us know that we are going to lose games. And us Tottenham fans, we know that we're going to lose games. It's about what you take from it and how you improve. Now, one of the things that I saw against PSG was 70-odd minutes before on the sub, and we dropped way back and we started conceding space, and we let them have the ball and we let them attack us, and it's like, okay, fine, we're going to defend. Well, against Man City, that didn't happen. So something where we lost 2 goals against PSG, took us to penalties, you know what happened here? Well, at 2-2 against Man City on the Etihad, we didn't do that. Like the boss said, we continued to play for that 3rd goal, continue to push it forward. And I always feel that when you, not to be kamikaze, when you are pushing forward, you give them, the opposition, more to think about. So instead of them just worried about how they're going to break down a low block because they want to score or they want to win, if we're attacking them, they're like, oh, and it gives them more to think about, but more like nervous twitching, more things to you know, they're watching their back, they're watching their shoulders and things. So today, there were certain things that didn't happen. It was very flat, energy-wise. I felt the first 5 minutes were good, but very flat energy-wise. And the question ends up becoming, like, to Frank, when we come up against a side like that, that is pushing, that is figured out what system or what we're doing, then what do you do to change it? Because Frank is the man with a plan, right? It's what I'm saying. At half-time, part of me felt in my soul, if we went to 3 in the back now, we're going to get more control over the game. We'll try and get that physicality back in the game. But nothing was working today. You know, Richie, like you said there, Richie couldn't hold the ball up like he has in the last couple of weeks. I was really disappointed with Richie. You know, I was really surprised with him to begin with, to see PSG, Burnley, and Man City performances. And, you know, with Solanke out today, you're going, okay, Richie, you're the man today, let's go. And it looked like the old Richie. It looked like the Richie that I wasn't really impressed with. And I'm hoping that that's just a myth and that he's going to come back to the person that I've just seen a couple of weeks, you know, for the last couple of weeks. But, you know, that's on him. When it comes down to Frank, it's like, what do you do once certain things aren't working? And to be fair to him, he did try with his subs. And sorry, they just let me. That announcement was for me. I don't know if you heard that. The bar shut in 30 minutes. I don't know if you guys heard that, but they just said that was for me. I don't know. So yeah, it was hard for him to adapt. It was hard for him to change, and not only adapt to change, but it was hard for him. Frank, I'm talking about, to implement our strengths on them. What I've been really impressed with is that we've played to our strengths. Frank has played to our strengths. He has worked our strengths, and we've looked dynamite from it. But we wasn't able to do that today. It's what can you take from that? And I think he will. I think he will assess it the same way, like I said about PSG. I think he will assess it. I think he will pull out some things. I think he will learn. And fundamentally, he will put it on the training pitch and drill it. Do you know what I mean? But that's the question there. When we do have performances like this, it was almost like It was almost like an 11:30, 12:30 Saturday kickoff. You know, it almost felt like they didn't wake up.
Yeah.
And you've got big Javi Simmons in the building. You want to show him, you want him to be excited. You want to show him what he's coming into. You don't want to be flat-footed like that. It looked like they all had a night out with me, to be fair. That's what it looked like.
Craig, let's come to you. Thomas Frank must be very disappointed that the fans have booed in only his second Premier League home game and third Premier League game overall.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, you can see why fans boo, because you pay a lot of money and you go there to be entertained, and that probably wasn't much fun. I know a few fans that left fairly early today on 70 minutes, and there was probably a fair few. So it's a funny one with booing. You could argue a case for both. People could say, well, I pay me money, I can boo when I'm not getting served up what I want to see. But then again, it is only his third game, so it's a kind of funny one. The booing today, it's disappointing. But then again, that performance in the first half was so bad. You can kind of see why the fans did what they did today. It's kind of understandable. So I'm probably on the fence with it, to be honest with you. If I was there myself, would I have booed? Possibly. But it was just, I thought we were going to see a different Tottenham in the second half, and we didn't. That was the main thing for me. I just thought that, you know, we'd come out firing, and we just didn't, did we? We didn't get going all game.
You have hit the nail on the head there, Craig. That's exactly what I was going to say. I thought that we would see I know we're going to get into the match instance, but I thought, and I think a lot of people around me thought exactly the same, we are going to see a different Spurs in the second half, and we didn't.
Yeah, exactly, and just that, yeah. You know, like we've done it in the past. We did it under Ange, didn't we? We started slow in a fair few games, and then saw a different Tottenham in the second half. But we just didn't see anything. It was the misplaced passes today, the simple stuff, the headers away out of the box as well. The fans really were. You could hear them. They were really getting frustrated. A few of the passes and headers away. It was great to clear the lines, what we all want us to do, and not faff around with it. But those headers were to nobody, and then it just gives the ball back to Bournemouth. So it was just like constant wave after wave, and really their first goal, well, the only goal, that's kind of set the precedent for the match, didn't it? And I thought that would kind of kick us to life, but it didn't really. And how I think that was Semenyo actually with a header over the bar. And I will come on to the incidents. That should have been 2-0 within the first 10-15 minutes. And I'm sure they would have gone on and probably scored 3 or 4. That's the worrying thing. We looked all over the place defensively. Yeah. Really did. And that's the worrying thing. If we were playing a Champions League team, we would have got torn apart today.
Yeah. Craig, let's stay with you. Let's talk about the only goal of the game after 5 minutes. Evanilson scoring for Bournemouth. Talk us through the goal.
Yeah, I mean, good cross in or pass in through there to Evanilson. Jed Spence, I think it is, at the back post, sitting quite deep. I'm not convinced he would have been offside even if Jed had been in line. I think that's Mickey van der Ven just coming back there. So it was just a good pass. We couldn't get out quick enough. Lovely through ball, and I have to say it was a bit unlucky. Took a deflection off Romero and looped over Vicario, but it was a great finish. Take nothing away from it. And as I say, let's face it, they could have had a fair few more, and they were dominant in that first half with their chances. Really hit us on the counter quickly, and we just couldn't get out on certain occasions. Their press was really good. It looked like Areola had them really tactically, knew what they were doing all game. And we were just never at the races. I don't think there's any other way of putting it. We were just outscored today, I think, and it's a big wake-up call for Thomas Frank and the players. And you could see at the end how disappointed the players were. But, you know, they had 90 minutes to put it right, and they didn't. So, as Kate said, all the way back at the start, it was a terrible day at the office today.
Kate, do you want to add anything to the Bournemouth goal?
No, not really. I just wanted to say with regards to the booing, I don't like it, and I especially don't like it when our manager's only been there for a few weeks. I think booing your team is such an entitled way of looking at it. At the end of the day, the Premier League's the best league in the world, and anyone can beat anyone on any day. And I think Bournemouth no matter what we try and dissect about Spurs, Bournemouth were exceptional today. And sometimes you have to just literally put your hands up and say we lost to the better side. So, you know, I'm just really disappointed to hear the fans booing at half-time and full-time. I just think it's too early to turn. You know, it doesn't look good on the manager. It doesn't look good on our new signing. It's just not for me. But that was all I was going to say.
Ricky, it's fair to say that Bournemouth could have scored quite a few goals today.
The dramas that are going on right now. 1 minute, because I've got to take my earphones out again, so that you guys can hear me, but I won't be able to hear you. So the dramas, all right? 1 minute. What's really funny? Just got a ton today. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those mad ones. Just to let you guys know, Chris is running off because Kudus is just there. He's just, I would twist it, but he's literally in an elevator just there waiting. So that's why everyone's distracted. Love Kudus. So no, I think Bournemouth could have scored a ton today. They set up right. They played towards their strengths. You know, they like Kate said earlier, they're not mugs. They've got pace, they've got power, and they're well drilled by a very good manager, a manager that we was looking at last year as well. So, but it's one of those, man. It's one of those. It's like when it comes down to the booing, you know, I can understand it. You know, that type of performance. It wasn't a full-on hate boo. It wasn't I hate you. It was like, fix up. It was like, what was that? Come out in the second half and show us what you're about. But it was very, very much the same second half. And I don't know, man. Sometimes people need a little bit of a shake. And maybe that's what we needed. Maybe the team got too confident, or maybe that they started feeling like they were a bit untouchable. And then we had to be brought down to earth again. So maybe it was one of those. Maybe it was one of the best lessons that we needed right now, do you know? So there's a lot going on right here. Look, I'll show you. Look. People are taking pictures, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
I think your camera today, Ricky, is about as good as your audio. They can't see a lot.
I think he's got a blurred background. I think.
Yeah.
Craig, I don't know whether I want to go through all these match incidents actually, because a lot of them just say Bournemouth this, Bournemouth attack, Bournemouth attack. We didn't really have much creativity in front of goal today. Bournemouth good counter, cross from the left, headed over after 17 minutes, after 21 minutes, saved from Vicario from a free kick. Let me ask you about Vicario today, because he made a number of great saves, keeping us in the game.
Yeah, he did. He made a fair few reaction stops that we've become used to seeing from Vicario. There was one, I think it was second half, actually, low to his left. Really good save. He came out and blocked one as well. Really just threw himself at the feet of the player. Just sensational. His passing out wasn't the best, I have to say, but he does make me nervous when he's got the ball at his feet sometimes. But as a shot stopper, I thought he was absolutely sensational today. There's not much really else you can say about Vicario, because he does seem to be, he's better from corners and punching out. He had a few of them. I mean, Kate, what did you make of Vicario today? Did you think what did you think he did well and bad?
Well, everyone can see I love Vicario. I think he gets so much unwarranted criticism and hate. I thought he made some unbelievable saves, a couple of double saves as well. But I do agree, there was one time he passed the ball out sloppily and it went straight to a Bournemouth player. So there's some games like against City where you watch him and I think, God, he's changed. He's got so much composure. He's really improved his sort of game. But then today at times he looked a bit erratic. But then I think I think although I thought we played very slow today, there seemed to be some panicking around the team. And I think it's because they knew that Bournemouth had our number, really. But look, I thought Vicario, if you're going to give man in the match to anyone, I thought he deserved it, because if it wasn't for him, I think it would have been 5 or 6-0 and been a complete embarrassment. And I wouldn't be sitting here going, oh, well, it's just a bad day at the office. I would be saying that was absolutely outrageous. But he like I said, I think he comes in for a lot of unwarranted criticism, but his passing out from the back needs to improve. He makes me nervous at times. I'm not going to lie, but he done a fantastic job today.
Okay, after 21 minutes, Bournemouth had another opportunity following a corner. They headed over the bar. On 24 minutes, Thomas Frank, there was a break in play. Thomas Frank called all of these players over, and he was shouting at the players a minute or so before. This continued, and then he had a real good talking to his players. What do you think he was saying at that point? Because let's face it, 24 minutes into the game, it was all Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about Thomas Frank, his in-game management, the fact that he's animated on the touchline and shouting instructions. I would think he was saying, keep your composure, keep your shape, and get into them. I thought our players stood off a lot from rather than going in for tackles. Now, a lot of people argue and say they don't want to get injured for the international break, and there probably is some truth in that. But I kept saying to Jim, they're standing off from the players. They need to get into them more. And I think Frank will be saying to them, be brave, go into them, but keep your shape at the same time. Because we just looked a shadow of the night and day to last week. We looked really all over the place, and there just seemed like a lot of panic. So I assume he would be trying to calm them down. But like even for the first goal, I thought the defenders stood off. I know Romero obviously didn't because they got the deflection from Romero. But generally, I just thought our defenders stood off from the attack more today. That they should have kind of gone into it a bit more. But who knows what Frank was saying? Whatever it was, it didn't bloody work.
Well, it almost worked, because literally after 3 minutes, Ricky, after that chat to the team, Johnson played a delicious ball to Mohamed Kudus, who should have shot first time, but he decided to take the touch, and then the shot was blocked.
Just hilarious. Yes, yeah, no, he did. We had many moments like that. We had a couple of moments like that, not many.
Kudus will score. Kudus will score, and we will get there with him. It's just one of those today. It's just one of those today. Everything was kind of going the wrong way. It was sliding off the foot at the wrong time. Do you know what I mean? Some of our body shape, some of the times when holding off the ball, it just didn't run. Sometimes even when shooting, you know what I mean? Like they were leaning back instead of leaning forward. It was one of those. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Kudus should have probably scored that one.
Ricky, we had a lot of the ball today, but in my opinion, we just didn't put enough crosses in. Craig, we had a lot of the ball today, but
move on.
we just did not put enough crosses into the box.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing Richarlison is good at is headers. He's quite good in the air, Richarlison, but they just didn't. And what crosses did come in were pretty poor. There was one in the second half from Kudus. They backed a couple with his weaker foot, just didn't cut it. Always intercepted by a Bournemouth player. So I thought Johnson was very quiet again today. Waited for a couple of passes. And let Bournemouth nick in. To be fair to him, he got back and made the interception and a tackle on the player. But yeah, overall, I thought Johnson didn't have his best game today. Kudus didn't have his best game today. To be fair, the whole team didn't have their best game. I'm picking out players. I think the whole team as a whole. We've seen this before, haven't we? We've really seen this before, where the whole team seems to have a crap performance all at the same time. And today was one of those days. And do you know what? I'm going to come back to it. It's the game before an international break. That is, and we've got 2 weeks now where we have to sit and brood on it and think about it, and the players go away and with their international teams, and hopefully none of them will get injured. But it's just frustrating. It would have been lovely. We was talking about it last week, probably getting a bit carried away, but thinking if we can somehow get 3 points at Bournemouth, we'll be sitting there 9 points from 9, top if not second, third in the Premier League. And now we're look, as Kate said, it ain't a disaster at all, but it's a big wake-up call. And if you've got any aspirations of finishing top 4, top 5 in this league, you can't lose your home games. With the greatest respect to Bournemouth, and as Kate said, they're no mugs, absolutely. But these are the sort of games you need to be winning. And I know Manchester City would have probably said that about us last week, but come on, it's it didn't even. We weren't even unlucky today. Do you know what I mean? We were unlucky not to concede 5 or 6. That's the worrying thing.
Craig, on 28 minutes, Bournemouth had another chance. Mickey van der Ven with a great block preventing the shot and 2-0. On 37 minutes, Jed Spence putting a cross in from the left, which was cleared. And just before half-time, on 43 minutes, Bournemouth with a cross from the left, headed just wide. How are you feeling at half-time, Craig? And if you were Thomas Frank, would you have made any changes at the break?
I was feeling pleased that we weren't more than 1-0 down, to be honest. And again, like I say, I was thinking that I wasn't that concerned because I thought we would come out in the second half. I thought Thomas Frank would make changes at halftime because it was clear where Bournemouth were dominating. I think he needed to change it. Perhaps it would have been better. I don't know. Perhaps it might have been one of these better occasions where we'd gone 3 at the back. I don't know. And just change things up, not necessarily to counter any specific thing, but just to give Bournemouth something else to think about, a different formation. And I think that would have been kind of good. And it might have actually, fight fire with fire to go 2 up front. But of course, we didn't have that option because we didn't have Solanke on the bench. So, and I don't think he sees Tell as somebody that can play in a 2 because you'd perhaps need somebody to drop back a bit deeper. And I don't think Tell would be good in a sort of number 10 role, so to speak. So I was surprised he didn't change things at half-time and bring on a Bergvall or even Odegaard like he did a bit later on. I just thought it deserved... the game was crying out for changes a bit earlier. So, John Travolta, Christ. I just thought he would have made changes at half-time.
Kate, how are you feeling at half-time? Because, as I mentioned, as Thomas Frank has already spoken about in the press conference, there were boos at half-time. We all felt, I think, that we were going to see a very different Tottenham in that second half. In the 46th minute, though, just a minute after the break, Semenyo with a shot, great save from Vicario. 3 minutes later, another great save again from Vicario. It rebounded off. They then hit the bar. It was very, very nearly 2-0. What changes did you expect and almost demanded from Thomas Frank at the break?
That one you just said where Vicario makes the 2 saves, that came from his mistake, giving the ball straight to the Bournemouth player. But half-time, I said he's got to take off Porro, move Spence over to that side and bring Udogie on. I would have done that immediately because Porro was getting roasted. It was embarrassing to watch him. And I thought Porro, so far this season, his defensive play's improved, but he was getting roasted left, right and centre today. So I would have made that change. I would have took Bentancur off as well, I think, and put on Bergvall at half-time. I know he didn't wait that long. I think it was 54 minutes when he made the changes, but I just think it was so clearly not working. At half-time, I would have made those changes straight away. It might not have made any difference, I don't know. But again, it goes to the bench. We haven't got any real game changers that can come on and think, right, this guy's going to turn it around. We look so weak on our bench today. But those 2 changes I would have definitely made at half-time.
Ricky, when we talk about changes, Kate mentioned them there. On the 52nd minute, another great move from Bournemouth, and then eventually we cleared it. A minute later, Vicario had to save yet again. And then Thomas Frank made the first changes. Bergvall and Odegaard coming on, Johnson and Polinia going off. What did you make of the changes at that point? And were you thinking that we were going to change something dramatically in the game and come back into it?
Do you know what? Drama for me, guys. This is a drama.
This sums up today.
Obviously, I brought out the wrong headphones today. I should have gone with the Paraticis like Chris. Do you know what? I'm with Kate. I'm with Kate. I think that those changes should have happened a little bit earlier. You needed to shake something up, and when you can see that first half, when you see how flat-footed it was,
you needed to make a stronger, bolder change. That's what I was thinking about for it at the back, because you would have brought on someone like Danzo, who is physically strong, tall, hard for him to push him off the ball, and maybe pushing him to be the physical presence up against Semenyo. That might have done a little something. If you remember against the PSG game, the marauding runs that Danzo was making, a bit like Romero does, but he was pushing the ball up and again using his physicality to get the ball up the field and to make it happen. So it's thank you. That one's gone. I want that one. Thank you very much. Just trying to take my brandy. What's that about? He's new. It's that one. But yeah, we definitely needed to make. We definitely needed to wake ourselves up. There was a lot of efforts, but there wasn't a lot of outcome. There wasn't a lot of solutions. Effort, yes, but no solutions. And we all expected and warranted a response in that second half, and it just didn't come. And when the changes did come, Chris, we sat there and kind of called it. But even then, it was very tough for them to have an impact. Bournemouth had our number, and Craig's absolutely right. It could have easily been 3 or 4-0 for them today. And if they would have taken their chances, we would have had a really depressing podcast. But, look, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's complacency. I think that the boys most probably needed this wake up to know that they can lose, and that if they're not on it for the full 97 minutes, then things like this can happen. And it's another way to kind of go, boys, you need to give everything for the full time, regardless of internationals, regardless of what else is happening next week. You need to give everything all the time. And I think that's what Thomas is going to be most disappointed with that work rate, with that non-response. So fingers crossed they work it out and sort it out.
Craig, let's come to you. Matthew says here, Ricky, you're an influencer now. Time to ditch the Tesco value headgear. And I agree. I don't even know where he's heard that. Craig, let me come. Oh, it's gone. Craig, let me come to you. On 60 minutes, Pedro Porro put in a cross from the right-hand side over hit, which frustrated the fans. On 66 minutes, Bournemouth, another cross from the left. They hit the side netting. The Bournemouth fans thought that they were 2-0 up. Long shot over the bar from Bournemouth on 67 minutes. A cross in to Richarlison. And Bournemouth then hit the shot of the goalkeeper. This was our first shot on target after 69 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty poor, isn't it? Yeah. And Bergvall, to be fair to him, when he came on, he had that chance, and he had a chance a bit later on where he should have shot, actually, and passed it to Kudus, and it came to nothing. But, that is poor. I mean, their first half statistics, as you say, were bloody awful. We were just outplayed today, as Kate said. The better team won the game. If we'd actually come back into that and even nicked a draw, they'd feel hard done by, let alone us go on to win it, which we did a couple of occasions early last season. So, yeah, we just got just rewards, just desserts today. And there's not much else you can say about it. I would say that they fully deserved that victory today, and you can't say anything else other than that. We deserved everything we got today.
You're muted, Chris.
It's been one of them days, isn't it? Craig, after 71 minutes, Destiny Doggy come on. Pedro Porro going off. Spence then going to right back. Great to see Destiny Doggy back in the Spurs shirt playing. Yeah,
that was a positive, I suppose, seeing Udogie back on the pitch. Made a few runs up the line today. Wasn't really given enough chances to do it. Obviously, he wasn't on the pitch that long, but good to see him back. And I would imagine he'll be putting in. I don't know if he's in the Italy squad. Actually, I can't believe he would be, but I would imagine he'll be putting in a lot of work at Hotspur way over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully be fit for the next game in two and a bit weeks' time.
Kate, let's come to you. After 75 minutes, another good move from Bournemouth, another shot that Vicario had to save, and then a minute later, Thomas Frank made another sub, Tell coming on, Sarr going off. There's been a lot of criticism for Matisse Tell. He had that chance that we'll talk about in a second. Are we going to see Matisse Tell playing on the left? Are we going to see him playing through the middle? I know when Spurs signed him initially on loan, Sky Germany came out and said, he is a striker. You must play him as a striker. Thomas Frank, I feel, doesn't see him as a striker.
I don't see him as a winger. I'm sorry, you know, I'm just Kate. I'm not a football manager, so who am I to argue? But I watch him on the wing, and I don't see him as a natural winger. But I don't know until I see him as a striker. I can't really comment. I still don't see why we particularly bought him. I am unconvinced by him. I'm trying to keep the faith because he's a Tottenham player. So I did the same with Johnson. And, you know, as much as people slag him off, he knows where the net is and that's all you can ask for. But I just don't see where Tell fits in. So, I mean, I would like to see him play alongside another striker just to see how we would go, because I don't see him as a winger. And when I saw that he was coming on, I didn't feel any sort of, wow, this could change the game or this guy could score. I mean, it was a difficult chance that he had, but I probably would have fell off my chair if it had gone in, because I just think he's not got a lot of confidence either. And yeah, I'm still, like I say, I'm not convinced where this guy fits into the system at all. But, you know, we've got to trust that Thomas Frank knows best and will find a space for him.
Ricky, what did you make of the chance on 79 minutes? Because it was a glorious chance that fell to Odegaard, and he blasted over the bar.
Horrendous. This is horrendous. But at least I'm not mash up drunk. Normally when I'm here at the stadium, I'm mash up drunk. Okay, Odegaard's chance, and at least this podcast is going to be so short today. It's going to be amazing. Odegaard's chance went way over the bar, didn't it? He could have done so much better with it. But I think with Odegaard and with Tell, both of those players, they're not getting the chances. They're not getting a rhythm in their game. So it's going to be hard to really assess them or critique them, especially when they've got 10 minutes, 15 minutes to play. Odegaard I think he's a good player, and I think there's something special within him. But we haven't seen it as yet. I'm sure that time will be coming. I'm sure there will be rotation. But it's tough, because if we're looking for another winger stroke attacker, like most fans have said, then where does Odegaard Tell fit in? We know Johnson will come into the play. We know Johnson will come in on the right or the left, depending on what we need. Especially as an Impact sub. They're letting me know again that the last orders.
They don't sell headphones there, do they?
Yeah, so we haven't really seen them catch much rhythm. Do you know what I mean? And so we don't really know what they are right now. But again, the same like Johnson, the same like Richarlison. The flashes that we can see, keep the faith, and hopefully this year they can break out. When anybody criticizes a young one, I will say, look at someone like Sarr. When Sarr came in, you got to remember that he came in, he went on loan, and when he was in the side, he was very bitty. Do you know what I mean? Off the bench, sometimes he starts some, sometimes he's out of it. But if you look at him this year, it looks like he's stepped up his strength training. He looks a lot stronger, he looks a lot more physical, he looks quicker this year. He looks like a real, proper, dynamic midfielder. So it does take time with these young ones to have their growth spurts or to have their kind of their moments, you know. So give it a little time, but yes, absolutely, Odobert should have been able to at least get that on target. I think it will come from him, but again, I think we're just going to have to give it time.
Craig, let's come to you. After the 90 minutes, the fourth official put the board up, 7 minutes added on. In the 92nd minute, Jed Spence, a great cross in to Matisse Tell, who hit it first time on the volley, and it went wide. What did you make of that chance? Because do you feel like the criticism of Matisse Tell is fair? He's a young player.
Yeah, he is. I'm similar to Kate, though. I've never... it's difficult because I don't like to sit here and I won't sit here and really slag off players, but I think there's still a lot of learning from Matisse Tell.
What I should probably ask then is, are you confident that Thomas Frank will get the best out of someone like Tell? You know, a young player. He's worked and developed young players before. We've seen him get the best out of players his time at Brentford, and I feel like there is a big emphasis on that. His time at Tottenham to get the best out of players, including a new signing like this.
Yeah, and that's why you have to give him a bit of time to work with players like Matisse Tell, 100%. That chance was not an easy chance, and it wasn't far wide. Now, if that had snuck in, people would be lauding Matisse Tell and saying that he's rescued a point for us. It was literally a foot and a half wide. So it was, like I say, it was a very difficult chance, really difficult skill that is to hit it on the volley, on the turn, keep it low. So he was very unlucky there. But I think Thomas Frank, out of anybody, he's proved, right, that he can get the best out of a lot of players, improved players. He improved them, and Mbeumo, he improved Wissa. You could go through that whole Brentford team. I'm sure there's a whole host of players that he's improved over time, but it's not instant. It's not overnight, you know. So we need to give him a bit of time, and hopefully by Christmas you'll be seeing a more improved Matisse Tell and other players, that because we're not going to get in. We'll come on to the transfer window, I'm sure, but we are still a few players short. So whether we'll get them in, I don't know. But he's going to have to work with this group of players more or less until January.
Kate, let's come to you. After 94 minutes, Bergvall with a great run, gave the ball to Mohamed Kudus, and you thought at that point he's going to put in a fantastic cross, but it was too close to the goalkeeper. What did you make of Mohamed Kudus? Because he is a player that all of us Spurs fans have been raving about this last month or so.
I personally think Bergvall should have just gone for the shot. I think he shouldn't have even passed it. It was so frustrating because he was right there and it was like, just shoot. And he passed it to Kudus. But look, I can't gush about Kudus enough. I don't think he had his best game today, but then I just think the whole team had a bad day at the office. But he has been an absolute revelation for us already. He looks so dangerous. If we can get that quality down the other side, whether that will be Simmons or someone else, it depends on where Frank plays him. You know, that's scary for any team because he's so creative. I thought he was actually quite slow today, but then I thought the whole team played very slow. Normally he gets the ball and is quick to pass it forward, but I thought he held on to it a bit long. But generally, I'm just so delighted that we've got him. We're sort of seeing the kudos that we saw the first season at West Ham, not last season. And I'm just hoping, like I say, that we can get... I still would like to get another attacking player in the window because it just worries me. We've gone from our attack being our strongest, obviously, with the likes of Kane and Son. We've never really got it quite right since then. Richie, I don't think should be, you know, I like him and I think he's done really well start this season. But because of his injury record, I don't think we should be relying on him as a main striker. Solanke, who never really had a bad injury record, suddenly seems to have one. So again, I'm not sure how much we can rely on them. But look, I'm not going to say anything bad about Kudus at all because I think he has fitted straight into the team. I think he's an unselfish player. I just wish Bergvall had been a little bit more unselfish today and gone for that shot because I'm not sure whether it's a lack of confidence or what, but he just didn't seem to want to whack the ball in the net.
Okay, let's stay with you because literally in the dying seconds, Destiny Udogie had a chance which he headed wide from Mohamed Kudus' cross. Will Thomas Frank have any concerns about our creativity or lack of it today, given that we only had one shot on target? Or is the answer now Javi Simmons literally comes into this team and we create a lot more chances? Because we haven't really had this concern up until now that we've only had one shot on target. And you know, let's be fair and honest about it. A number of times last year, you know, the amount of times that Ange Postecoglou said that we just weren't clinical in front of goal, and you know how many chances we missed in that final third.
Yeah, I think there'd be some concern, but look, it's a credit to Bournemouth that we didn't create anything and literally only had one shot. So I think we could have played for an extra hour today, and I don't think we would have scored. And I'm not even sure if Javi Simmons had been on the pitch whether we would have scored. They just had our number today. But look, you've got to remember we're missing Maddison and Kulu. As I say, we've got Simmons coming in. I'm concerned about the creativity. I think our defence, apart from Porro today, but generally so far has looked really solid. I think our midfields look really strong. But I do worry because we haven't got that number 10. You've just got to hope that when Javi has his first game that he hits the ground running, because obviously some players take time to adapt to the Premier League, and we really need him to come in and make a difference straight away, because the connection between the midfield and the front line is just not quite there at the minute. So, but like I say, I think a lot of that is because Bournemouth were just so good today. I don't like to keep making excuses for Spurs, because I just think I said to Jim, they had us in a box. We couldn't go anywhere, anytime they were there. It looked like they had more players on the pitch than us. So, you know, I think we just got beat by a better team that played better tactics today for this game.
Do you know what? I completely agree with Nick's comments here. It says we disrespected Bournemouth. I think we thought we got the win before the game even started. There are so many people, even on the fan show yesterday, saying we're going to win 3-0, we're going to win 4-0, it's going to be easy because, of course, based on that performance, certainly last week at Manchester City. Now, I've got two final questions for you all. What else do we need to do in the transfer window before Monday night, 7 p.m? And let's get your thoughts and opinions on the Champions League draw. Go on.
Me?
Well, it sounds like you're having a party there.
Well, I don't know what's happening, bro. You know what? I know you can't hear me very well with these.
You know we lost 1-0, yeah?
Yeah, supposedly, but it's like not with the vibes that are going on. I mean, look at these two. Look at these two. Look, have a look at these two. Look, drinks in hand. Look, having a party, bruv. Having a party, I'm telling you. You know what? We need to... It's not about going too crazy about today. It's about learning the lessons from today so that we can move forward. There is a lot within that squad. Now, when we played against PSG and against Man City, we thought, we presumed before the game that we was going to be on the defensive tip and be more concentrating on our defense than our attacking. But we were attacking within that. We actually did really push a lot within that. We didn't sit back in a back five or in a back four or two blocks. We kept pushing forward. So it's about taking the lessons from today and making sure that we don't repeat those mistakes, but learn from them and make them happen. We still got a really exciting squad. So if we can get in a couple of extra additions, like you're saying there, like a forward, a left winger forward, or another special player in there. I would love a striker in there, but you can't have everything in life. So if they could improve in those two spots, at least two more players, I would be very, very happy. I'm very calm now that we've got Xavi. I'm very, very calm. I'm really happy about that right now. But if we could get, like Craig's always said, a cover for your full back area, whether that's a left back or a right back, another attacker, that would be fantastic. That would be a fantastic window. And especially if it's the ones that Frank wants.
if you're seeing Chris have a look, it's because Danzo is going to the lift right now, and that is his whole family's here. So yeah, they're looking at me and being like, "Oh my God, are you off the Spurs Chat podcast?" I'm like, "Guys, I'm trying to speak." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if they get a couple in, I think it'll be a really good window. One really, really special player, I think it'll be even better than it already is. When it comes down to the Champions League draw, I'm really, really happy with that draw. I think it's a great draw for us. But a bit like today, let's not look at it on paper and be like, yeah, we're going to win every game. Or, yeah, we should win that 4-0. Let's treat it with the professionalism and with the intensity and with the same gusto as we did Man City and PSG. I think that's what we need to take with our mentality. That's what we need to take going forward. Don't underestimate anybody. And you know, we've got scores to settle in the league. After 22 league defeats last year, we've got scores to settle in the league. We've got scores to settle in Europe. You know, they're saying that we couldn't do it in the Champions League. Well, we're in the Champions League now, so let's show them. You know, so there's things that we have to do, and we ain't got no time for sitting back, for slacking, or for flat days like today. They will happen, but we ain't got time for it, man. We need to shake that off like Taylor Swift really, really quickly and keep moving forward. Check it out.
Great. What about you?
I just wondered, Rick, I don't know if you can ask Danzo if he's got a set of headphones you can borrow for the rest of the podcast. I would.
He's wearing them. He's wearing them.
Oh, I was going to nick them off him. Well, let's cover the transfer window. It's the three I think we need. Still, I think we need cover, centre back, left back. I'd love another winger, a decent, tricky winger, and ideally, in my opinion, I agree with Rick, a centre forward. But whether we're going to get them, who knows? And the Champions League draw, I think it's a good one for Tottenham. I do. I think it could have been a lot worse. I think we've got to make the most of it. I think we've got to win our home games. You bet 15 points, they reckon you'll finish top 8. And I think it's something like 10, you're almost guaranteed to finish between 9 and 24th. So you play the playoff game. But if we can get to that 15 points, 14, 15 points, that's great. But, 3 home games, if we win them, you're on 12. So I think we've got a good chance, but we got to play better than we did today. I mean, that is, we haven't won on the eve of an international break since October 2023 against Luton. October 2023 was the last time we won before an international break, and Luton have been relegated twice since then. So, yeah, not good.
Wow.
Okay, what about you?
I think we need a left back, a left winger, and a striker. I'm looking at Lookman, Fofana, and Vissa. If we get them, 10 out of 10 window for me. I think those 3 spots. I don't think we get 3. I do see another 2 coming in. Whether I'm deluded or not, I don't know. I do see another 2 coming in. Maybe a Lookman. I don't know. We'll see. But I think our squad, if we get a Van der Ven injury, we're again, we need a left back for there. And the draw, I was over the moon, actually. I know we've got PSG again, but generally, I think we've got a decent draw. First game, 16th September against Villarreal. Exciting times. Can't wait to hear the music played at the stadium once again. That's what this stadium was made for, the Champions League night. So, yeah, I was pleased with the draw. I thought it was decent. And take one game at a time and see what happens. At the end of the day, like Ricky said, you can't look too far forward. You can't look at it on paper. We just got to take one game at a time and see how we go. Everyone slags us off all the time, says we're little bro Spurs. So, we've got nothing to prove to anyone except ourselves. So just take it every day and one day at a time.
Kate, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you and your wonderful work with Jimbo?
You can find us, me and Jimbo, on Kate and Jimbo. It really is that easy. I hope. I think last time I come on, Chris, I told you I had a bet that if we won the Europa League, I'd get a tattoo done. It's actually got "It's who we are, mate" at the top. you know, if we have bets on our channel, we do honour them. I will say that. So, but yeah, come over to Kate and Jimbo. You won't have any shouting and screaming. Occasional the domestic. You know, we've been married 17 years. You're bound to see the odd domestic or two, but it's just chilled Spurs chat. And I'm not sure who is more deluded, whether it's Jimbo or Ricky, because Jim went for a 4-0 today. Easy game, he said 4-0. So the battle of the delusionals. We'll have to get Ricky on sometime. But yeah, come on over to Kate and Jimbo, and we're on most lunchtimes. So yeah, come see us.
And Kate and Jimbo also do a weekly segment on this channel as well. So do check that out, and do check them out and subscribe. And we don't do any shouting or swearing on this channel either, because we can't even hear Ricky.
If you give me 2 minutes, I'm just saying goodbye and then I'll get it. Okay?
They can hear him now.
Sorry.
It's not another picture, is it? Oh, he can't hear me. And we can't hear you.
Log back here. There's been so much going on, right? So am I back in? Am I back in now?
Yeah.
You are?
The mic is. It just showed me the mic. There's a lot going on. So I apologize for today. I'll make sure that I'll bring my Paraticis with me next time. Oh boys. So I and girls. I apologize for today. It's been a whole heap of madness. I just got asked for a picture just a second ago again. So I've totally lost my track.
All day.
All day. Yeah. It has been all day.
Try and go out with. Try and go out with your mate, and then people keep stopping saying,
okay. I can't hear him at all. I've got to go with it. Kate, do you know what? Ask Jimbo for me. What's it? Sell Ricky? Never in a million years. You must be. I'm priceless, sunshine. You can sell my AirPods. Is it better to be with a partner who is Spurs after a loss, or is it worse? That's what I would ask. But let me just say, thanks for having me. It's been an honour and a pleasure as always. Big love out to all of you around the world. I'm sorry I've been so bad today. You know where to find me. I'll be on here after the next game against West Ham. You can find me on Twitter at Ricky J. Norwood. You can find my new podcast, Talk Tottenham, all one word on YouTube. It's myself and Darren Hart. You can find that on YouTube right now. Episode 2 is out right now, so you can do that. But love. Let me get out of here because I know you can't hear me and I can't speak. And look at the hair. The hair's all over the place. It's all going wrong.
Is the audio better on your podcast than it is on here?
No. Listen, the last episode, we recorded an hour and 10, hour and 13, and we had a sound engineer in there and everything. Mics were turned off. So
I don't know what to say. Ricky, thank you. And Craig, thank you so much for all of your hard work. And where can people find you?
No worries, Ricky's gone. At Dearman 9 on X if you want to give me a follow. That would be simply splendid. So, bad day at the office today. Let's move on. We've got 2 weeks to dwell on it. So,
yes.
So let's hope we can bounce back against West Ham.
Yes, indeed. Bad day at the office today, but it was a good start in the Premier League. Let's hope that that winning form can come back at the London Stadium. Is that here or is
that's
is
me?
That you?
That's my Amazon delivery.
Oh!
It's all happening on this podcast. I'm so sorry for all of the background noise. So sorry for all of the mayhem on this podcast. It's been one of them days. It literally has. But during the international break, of course, we will keep you up to date with everything Tottenham Hotspur, and we will be back with more fan shows during the international break. And then, of course, the Spurs Chat podcast will return very soon. Enjoy the international break, everyone. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Kate, thank you. Ricky, thank you. Craig, thank you. And a big come on you Spurs.